My name is Brittany. I'm the Senior Program Operations Coordinator with the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation. And I am just going to take you through a brief demo of what the applicant home looks like in CSTAR when you first log in and how to apply for funding. So when you first log into CSTAR, this is after you've registered yourself or your organization and you've changed your password. When you first log in, this is the screen that you're going to see. This is your applicant homepage. It looks the same for everyone, no matter what your organization is or if you're an individual applying for funding. It's always the same. So the top of this, just for a brief orientation, the top banner has just a welcome to CSTAR message. And the message says, this is your applicant home where you can submit proposals to apply for grant or contract funding, request amendments to your funded projects, complete progress reports for your funded grants, and see all of your agreement documents in one place. Please ensure that your user profile is always up to date with the latest information about yourself and your organization. So then moving down here, this box that I'm circling around right here is your user profile. So the information that's going to appear here is the information that you listed when you first registered yourself or your organization. If you need to update any of this information, you'll click Update User Profile here and just fill out the information listed here, and then click Save Draft. If you need to reset your password, you can just click this Reset Password button. So moving on to this next section, this is for funded grant and contract activities. Now, this is only for funded grant and contract activities that have been put through CSTAR. So if you've applied for funding through this system, you can use this section here. However, if you've applied for funding and received funding from the foundation before we started using CSTAR, this will not apply for those agreements. But let's say you have a grant with the foundation and you want to request an amendment to that grant. Maybe you need to change the scope of work, or you want to request to increase the amount of funding, or you want to extend the period of performance. You can request an amendment by clicking on this button here. If you have a grant and you want to start one of your progress reports, you can click on this button and begin a progress report. Or if you just want to see all of your agreements that you have with the foundation, you can click this button here. So moving down, this section below this banner here is for applying for more funding through the foundation, whether it's grant funding or contract funding. This is the section you're going to move down to in order to do that. Step 1 is your organization profile. So the first thing that we ask you to do every time you start a new application is to review your organization profile. We need all of the most up-to-date information about your organization in order to proceed with an agreement. So we just require you to do this step first. So you'll click on this button here and just fill out all of the information on this pop-up window. You can see that required fields are marked with stars. And please just make sure that you fill out all the information in full, and also pay close attention to these gray boxes here, which are instruction boxes. Some of these sections are only for certain applications. So if you're submitting an application for contract funding, then this section here doesn't apply to you. However, if you're submitting an application for grant funding, then you do need to complete this section. So please just pay close attention to these gray instruction boxes in order to complete this in full. So once you've completed this pop-up window for your organization information, click on Save Draft, and then you'll be all set to move on to step 2, which is submitting your proposal. So again, follow the instructions that are listed under step 2 here, but I'll point out that if you're applying for grant funding, this is the box that you're going to want to pay attention to. And if you're applying for contract funding, this is the box that you'll want to pay attention to. So let's just pretend that we're applying for grant funding. If you're coming into this portal to apply for a grant through an RFP, then this is the button you're going to want to push. So I'm going to click on that and locate the RFP. In this case, there's only one right now, but there might be other options here. But I'm going to locate that RFP that I wanted to apply for funding for. If I want to see more information about it, I can click on this download RFP button here, or I can just click apply to RFP. And it's going to take me to the application screen. So this application, this is the start of the application. There's a really large, important message at the top here, and it's extra large so that this is not skipped. But the message says, important, please click the blue Start Application button at the bottom of the page to begin your application. That's this button right here. So you have to click this button before you begin filling in your application. And if you don't do that, you just won't be able to fill in certain sections of information here, which are crucial for the whole application itself. So you just need to click this button to get started with it. Once you've filled out this whole application and you've completed it and you're ready to submit, click on this green Submit button at the bottom right-hand corner, and it'll get sent to the foundation for review. Please note that once you've submitted your application, you can't make any changes to it. So you are able to come in here and get started on an application. You don't have to start it and finish it all in one sitting. But again, click on the Start Application button before you begin. Then you can work on your application, and then this Start Application button will be replaced with a Save Draft button. So just make sure you click on that Save Draft while you're working on your draft application. And then again, when you're fully ready to submit it, click this green button here. I'm not actually going to start an application, so I'm just going to go back to our applicant home, which you can get to by clicking on that applicant home in the top right-hand corner. And then I'm going to go back down to this grants section and explore this button here, which is Create New Grant Proposal. Again, if you're applying for grant funding through an RFP, you're going to click this button. If you're applying for grant funding, but it's not connected to an RFP, you can click on this button here. And it's just going to take you directly to that application form. So all of the same rules. This is the exact same application process. Everything applies with the Start Application button and the Submit button. But this is only if you are not applying to an RFP. I won't go through the contracts section because it's exactly the same as the grant section. It's just for contract funding instead of grant funding. And then this step 3 box over here, it's not so much a step as it is just like a progress update section. But this is just where you can see the different status of all of your applications. So I can see here that I have one draft application in progress. So I've started this, but I haven't finished this application. I have 6 submitted applications. This revisions requested is if you've submitted an application and we've received it at the foundation, and we've reviewed it, but we've determined that there's something missing or we need more clarity on something. So something is not quite finished with the application that we need to request revisions for. And so we'll request revisions in the system and send it back to you to complete. So if you have anything in this section here, you can click into it, and this is where you'll go to make those revisions. I can see that I have 2 executed agreements and 0 closed. So that is the extent of the applicant portal. Again, you'll just log into the system. This is after you've already registered your organization. You can log into the system, update your user profile and organization profile at any time, and then submit an application for funding in this section below here. Thank you, and reach out if you have any questions.